All right. Well, uh, I guess you could say there's been a little bit of activity happening in the last couple of weeks since the end of the regular season for South Carolina football. Uh, we wanted to do this show probably about a week ago to recap National Signing Day, but it became very apparent that right after signing day, the news of new offensive offensive staff members was going to happen relatively quickly. So we figured it would probably just be best to put the show off until everything got finalized, and today it happened. So there are three main topics we want to talk about. The main one we're going to talk about first is the hiring of new offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Kendal Briles, new offensive line coach Randy Clements, and new running backs coach Stan Drayton. Uh, James Lee from 843 is with me as he typically is. We're doing the simulcast here as opposed to sitting down together. Also, by the way, just so you know, we're on YouTube, of course, but now we're on Spotify, so it makes it a lot easier if you want to listen to us in the car or listen to us with the headphones and not burn your phone up so badly, you can hear us there. But all right, Kendal Briles is now the offensive coordinator, and for you, I know this has been a long time coming. If you want to
Mhm.
elaborate on that.
Kendal Briles is definitely a name that I've been tracking for quite some time. Really like what the guy's done all the way back to, of course, the time with his dad at Baylor. And if you're thinking of like RG3 Baylor, yes, you'd be correct. Uh, as well as Coach Clements, by the way, was also on that staff. Just going to point that out. But this is a guy that has been to several different stops. When he left Baylor, obviously that didn't go down. On the field, things went great there, but off the field, and his father, as a lot of people know, lack of institutional control there. Lots of bad things went down, so the tenure at Baylor came to an end, and he had to go out and kind of reestablish himself, obviously out from his father's umbrella, kind of like what Shane Beamer did. Although Shane Beamer didn't really have that off the field thing around his dad. But point being, he went out on his own, actually began under Lane Kiffin at FAU calling the plays, ended up going to Houston for a year and then Florida State for a year with the disaster that was Willie Taggart, who, by the way, is the running backs coach of the Ravens now, which is random. But how hard is it to coach Derrick Henry? Anyways, um, he did those, kind of bounced around, and that's when Arkansas came into play. Sam Pittman was in a similar situation to Shane Beamer now, where he was kind of sink or swim, and brought in
I
Kendall
don't.
Briles.
Let me stop you there. It wasn't necessarily at that time sink or swim for Sam Pittman. He was putting a staff together, and as a first-time head coach, I think he saw talent there. That was one thing that Pittman was very good at. He spotted talent in
Mhm.
areas that he needed to find. He got Barry Odom to be his defensive coordinator, and he got
Yeah.
Kendall Briles to be his offensive coordinator. Uh, Sorry to get a little technical on you there. I do that very often. James and I have known each other for nearly 15 years. He knows that all too well.
We nonetheless, Sam Pittman is probably still coaching at Arkansas if Kendall Briles is still his offensive coordinator. Is kind of my point because what happened is when Kendall Briles left for TCU, and I don't remember the logistics behind why he went to TCU, but whether it was just kind of getting to work for Sonny Dykes and parlaying that into a head coaching job, and whether that was a good career move for him, I don't know.
May I
But
interject?
yeah,
So basically, what I understand, because the local affiliate here in Columbia, 107.5, great local channel here in Columbia, that's where you'll find the Gamecocks on the radio. Uh, One of their shows had an Arkansas beat writer on earlier in the week. And basically, what happened was Briles was flirting with the Mississippi State offensive coordinator job after the passing of Mike Leach when, oh gosh, the coach who took over for Leach
Zach
for
Arnett.
Zach Arnett was actually going to hire Briles. And Uh, Briles decided to stay at Arkansas. Uh, he apparently had put up on his Instagram or his Twitter or something a picture with KJ Jefferson, the quarterback at that time. And basically it was we're running it back, that kind of thing. Then Jimmy Sexton, being Jimmy Sexton, started talking about Briles going to TCU. Briles was interested. Arkansas basically said, "We're not playing this game. If you're either with us or you're not. Doesn't sound like you are. Go." And he ended up at TCU.
And that's interesting also because it seemed like Arkansas, if that was the case, Arkansas was kind of like, whatever. You don't hire Dan Enos as the follow-up hire for that. Running a pro style with KJ Jefferson. That's just nonsensical. Just like, and also, how did Zach Arnett pivot from Kendal Briles to Burberry or what his name was from App State? Speaking of pro style with a true air raid quarterback in Will Rogers. But anyways, it all kind of came full circle for Kendall Briles. I think he's finally at a place where he's got a guy that, and he knows the pressure he's walking into. I don't say him necessarily, but he knows the pressure of the head coach he's walking into. But this is the kind of hire Shane Beamer needed to make to not only save, I'm not even just going to say save his job, but a guy that can keep him there, potentially keep him at South Carolina long term. Because this is the type of hire you make to turn the trajectory of your program and your career around. And this is the
Agreed.
type of guy that brings excitement. And it's just what we need is a fresh breath of air in Columbia, bringing the veer and shoot with the air raid concepts. This is the exact type of offense that South Carolina fans are desperate for. And quite frankly, we should be desperate for across the board. This offense is high flying, it's up tempo, it scores points, it's exciting to watch. It's a very quarterback friendly system. You've got to think Lenore Sellers' ears perked up, and so did Landon Duckworth. And I would also say that Cutter Woods and Aaron Nolan are feeling the same way about it. Like, this is a system that can maximize the personnel he has.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to what I said, like, I'm no Dow Loggins super fan, but I like the fact that he adapted to his personnel. And hearing the fact that Kendall said in the press conference today, yeah, I talked to Lenoris and we're going to build this offense around him.
Yes.
Not he's going to build this offense around me, but we're going to build this offense around him.
Yeah.
And that was music to my ears.
That goes basically completely in the opposite direction of what Mike Shula tried to do,
Uh-huh.
which was build an off or build Lenoris into a style of quarterback that he is just not, you know, he's just not meant for. Okay, you would not take Graham Harrell and put him in a triple option offense. Uh, you don't need to take Lenoris Sellers and try and put him in a very boring, you know, 4 or 5 step drop type of offense. And yes, Carolina did run out of the shotgun a lot last season. I guess if you want to still call it this season, but nevertheless, I mean, this is basically the turning of the page from 2025 to 2026. One thing I do like about what Kendall Briles does, you see a lot of 3 wide receiver sets out there, but he will go 5 wide at times. And he does spread the field out. It's not like 3 wide receivers and they're close to the line. No, these guys are spread very far out, very much a one-on-one situation. It makes defensive backs have to basically pick and choose which wide receiver they want to take. Uh, and when I say that, I mean the safety. So
Mhm.
the safety basically has to pick 1 wide receiver to leave out on an island, one on one, and that will bode very well for Carolina. He is very creative in getting the ball to his wide receivers. So I like it. I was there for that game in 2022 when Arkansas just absolutely ran roughshod over Carolina, and that was not a bad defense, by the way. That
No.
they put, I think, what was it, 44 points on us that afternoon in Fayetteville. That's one of
Mhm.
those games where it just gets so bad you try and blank the score out from your memory. I just remember KJ Jefferson running roughshod over us that day. It was a very impressive offense to watch up close in person. The thing I remember the most about that game is on first down, Arkansas had a lot of success And I mean getting 6 to 8 yards on first down. It felt like every single first down, it was a quick slant, curl, or run even. And Arkansas was just picking up yardage the way you would want to in a very spread out offense. It was methodical. It wasn't necessarily completely high flying, but it was very methodical, and Arkansas made it work, and they scored touchdowns on those drives. Clayton White is not one that usually gets picked apart like that, but Kendal Briles did it very successfully. And I think you bring him to Carolina, give him the right personnel, I think it can go a very long way. We'll touch on the personnel here in a few minutes, but we will touch also on the other coaches who are joining Kendal Briles here in Columbia. Running backs coach Stan Drayton. That is somebody that Shane Beamer has a very uh, extensive relationship with. They have known each other for 20 plus years. They coached together at Mississippi State under Sylvester Croom. Drayton has had a very interesting career, to say the least. He has been all over the place, and everywhere he has gone, you will see top rated talent at the running back position. We're talking uh, Jeff Demps, Chris Rainey, uh, Ezekiel Elliott. Help me. I don't.
Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson when he was at Texas. Uh, believe Dennis Dixon at Mississippi State. If you want to go way back into the weeds of the SEC, was he there for Saquon at Penn State, or was that before him?
No, he was just there this year, so he
Okay,
would never they had this because he was actually the head coach at Temple.
okay.
Um, but actually he would have been at Texas, I would say, when
But
Saquon would have
Saquon was
been
there. Okay,
college.
no, that's fine. I just,
Yeah.
but still, the
So he
running
would have
backs
had
that I
knowledge.
listed off there are no slouches.
Yeah, and also apparently he also coached Indian. I'm reading he also coached Matt Forte, Jeremy Langford, and Kadeem Carey with the Chicago Bears because he was apparently their running backs coach
Yeah,
for let's see 2 years. And he also had been a quality control and special teams coordinator for 3 years with the Packers also. So this is a guy that has been all over the place in college and also has 5 years of coaching in the NFL and also 3 seasons as a college head coach. So
yeah.
just a wealth of knowledge. Obviously, Temple, the 9-25 record didn't work out. I don't know what went down there, if that was just not a good fit for him.
Well, it's
But
also Temple, so it's not like you're at a top level SEC job.
yeah,
Yeah, some guys have made Temple work, but at the same time, not an easy job. That and you know what? Some guys are just not meant to be head coaches.
yep.
We've talked about that at nauseum before. We won't delve into that tonight. But nevertheless, I think this is a very good pickup. One of the things that his predecessor, Markwell Blackwell, had difficulty with was recruiting uh, top quality running backs out of high school.
Yep.
Did not sign one during his time at South Carolina. The running backs, aside from Rocket Sanders, I would say have been underwhelming, particularly this past season. It was time for a new face, and I think this is a good one to put back there.
Who
Someone who
signed
can.
Fuller Hardesty?
What's that?
Who signed Fuller Hardesty?
I guess I don't know. Uh,
Yep. I just looked it up. Hardesty was primary, Loggins was
yeah,
secondary.
yeah. So that
Wow, so
does
even he was actually worse than Hardesty. Hardesty actually signed someone
right.
in high school.
Well, I think again, and before we get to Randy Clements, I'm just going to say this about all three of these guys. Shane Beamer, look, anytime you go 4-8, you are in a serious predicament, and you need to do something to one, earn back the trust of your fan base, earn back the trust of your athletic director, and show that you are willing to do what it takes to win at a major level. We're not talking about just being bowl eligible. This is designed to get you back to where you were a year ago, where you are knocking on the door of the playoff and you want to get into the playoff. So I think this is the type of hire you need to make. I'm not going to call it a home run hire just yet, but what I will say is Shane Beamer took a home run swing at this one.
Obviously, it's a results business, and even as much as I love the hire of Kendall Briles, all that's great during talking season, but you're right, and we got to see it on the field. And obviously, I don't think the three hires. I mean, I'm no savant of knowing running backs coaches and offensive line coaches, but offensive coordinators are pretty easy to keep up with, and you'd be hard pressed to put a list together that didn't have Kendall Briles at the top of the list. And for whatever reason, the timing worked out for the 2026 season for it to happen. And so we should embrace it. We should be excited. With Clements, I mean, this guy's been with Briles through thick and thin. I think this is the what fourth stop he's been with him or something like that, fourth or
It,
fifth.
it
I
seems like
mean,
it. I know they were at Baylor together.
yes, correct.
They were at Baylor. Were they at FAU together?
Not sure about FAU. I know we could look him up. I know he was just with him at TCU, but
Right.
he was the assistant because I know AJ Ricker was brought in by Garrett Riley and they kept him, and
Yeah.
Clemens was his right hand. We'll look him up real quick.
Speaking of looking stats up, I referenced that 2022 game between the Gamecocks and the Razorbacks. Uh,
Mhm.
Care to know how many yards Arkansas put up that day?
It was a lot.
457. Now we think of Kendall Briles as a very wide open. From the outside, you might think that Kendall Briles is just an air raid type. Do you know how many rushing yards Arkansas had that day?
Out of
200,
400.
295.
Oh.
Now, Grant, that's with KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders.
Mhm.
But again, their third down efficiency was 9 of 16. They were 2 of 3 on fourth down that day. They had 28 first downs in that ball game against the Gamecocks. And they ran 86 plays, and it was 44 to 30. So one thing that we do know, Arkansas can score points and they can move the ball, or at least the Kendall Briles offense can. So this
I
has to be something that is very encouraging for Carolina fans to see. Even the most skeptical Carolina fans, I think, would look at this and say, okay, I'm
okay,
willing to
I'm
give
buying
this a
into
look.
this. I'm gonna give it a chance.
Yeah.
Uh, it would be the fifth school they're together. They were together at Baylor, as we referenced. They were also together at Houston, Florida State, and TCU. So South Carolina would be the fifth. Is that right? So we got Baylor,
Yes.
yep, Baylor, Houston, Florida State, TCU, South Carolina. So this will be the
Were they
fifth
not at
school.
Florida Atlantic?
They were not at Florida. So when he went
Okay.
to Florida Atlantic, he went to Southeastern, it says. And then he went to Houston and Florida State with him. In 2020, he actually went to Ole Miss.
And by the
And then,
way, uh, one thing about Kendall Briles, he will be the quarterback's coach, and he has
mhm.
some pretty good quarterbacks next to his resume.
Oh
We've
yeah,
already mentioned KJ Jefferson. Don't forget about De'Aaron King, Robert Griffin III. So,
yeah.
there are a it's kind of a who's who, if you will, amongst quarterbacks. These are not scrappers. These are really talented guys. And the thing I've been saying, and I think a lot of people have been saying since word started getting out that Kendall Briles was the top target, you and I talked about this, I don't know how many times in the last week. Kendall Briles is perfect for a quarterback like Lenora Sellers.
Hmm.
I mean, to put him in that offense, you are, I mean, I'm not a betting man, but if I were, I would say that I would put money down that Lenoris is going to have better numbers in 2026 than he had in 2025.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Did you see Hoover's passing numbers last year under Browse?
no, what was it?
Pretty freaking good. Let me pull them up real quick. Uh, Josh Hoover. Let's see. I think he threw for like 3,400 yards last year or something crazy like that. He threw, yeah, let's see. Yep. He threw for 3,472 yards, 29 touchdowns, 13 picks with a QBR of 73.2.
Is that
Uh,
all?
yeah, I mean, I think we threw for like close to that. Yeah, nothing major.
Define close.
Not
No,
close enough.
no, no. But I do believe that if someone is going to straighten Lenoris out as far as his passing goes and as far as his game goes, um, straighten him out from all the damage that Mike Shula caused, I would say this is the guy you would go out and get. This
Yeah.
is a proven offensive coordinator, a proven quarterbacks coach, and I think that the staff that they're bringing in together, because you're going to retain both Sean Elliott and um, wide receiver coach. Help me out
Mike
here,
Furley.
James. Mike Furry.
Mike
Thank
Furley.
you. Thank you. I think you are going to see a very strong staff, and it gets me jacked for the spring game just to kind of go out and see what this looks like in April when the fans will finally be allowed to see some elements of this. But there is still a lot that needs to be done. For instance, South Carolina is losing Rasul Faison. We just
Mhm.
mentioned it. South Carolina did not gain a high school running back in this class. So there are now three running backs in that room. Uh, there is Matt Fuller, Jerwan Howell, and Isaiah Isaiah Augustave. I hope or Augustov. I can never remember which pronunciation is the correct one. That being said, Carolina needs another one, and I don't think there's an RB1 in that room right now. There have already been a crop of really good running backs that have declared for the portal, so there are opportunities there. But really, one glaring issue that Carolina had this past season was the offensive line. A lot of that is Lonnie Teasley. Some of that still is the talent up front. Carolina has got to utilize the portal this year, but Carolina has already done some utilizing, or some utilization, if you will, with the 2026 recruiting class that Shane Beamer and the staff have reeled in. We'll go over not all of them, but we will go over kind of the top heavy ones of this class. It's not a very big class to begin with, but it
No,
is a very from the I guess from the quote unquote experts' opinions, the guys on Rivals and ESPN, these are some pretty top tier guys. Starting with the very first signing, the highest rated recruit in this group, Darius Gray. Gray definitely brings a lot of excitement to an interior. He's an interior offensive lineman. That entire line just got blown up, and it's been blown up really, I would say, since Shane decided for whatever reason not to retain Eric Wolford, uh, which looking back, that's kind of a shame if you think about it. Uh,
Lane just hired him.
yeah. So LSU expect them to be able to run the ball, but uh, Gray is definitely somebody that's going to bring hopefully some stability. Do you know if he is an early enrollee or not?
That's a good question. Will it tell you like if you search his name? Let's look.
Well, I'm looking on the Rivals app right now. It does not say. So I didn't know if you had any insight on that. I know you track recruiting a little bit more heavily than I do. Um,
I wonder if it says like early enrollee on there. The first one that comes up
it just
is
says signed on the Rivals page. It
yeah.
doesn't say whether or not he's enrolling early. Want to also, and by the way, Gray is an interior offensive lineman out of Richmond. So you had to go out of state, but again, that's the DMV area that Shane is very good at locking down. Certainly, there's going to be challenges now with James Franklin being at Virginia Tech, but Franklin kind of had his own pipeline to the DMV as well, so not really much is changing terribly there. But Shane actually did a very good job. I'm going down this group here. There is a lot of in-state talent in this class. One that I want to throw out there, Sequel Patterson. I think this guy is going to be a, he is going to be somebody you could plug in opening day. Maybe not give you a ton of snaps early on, but somebody that you can expect to will likely fill in some gaps for sure. Uh, have
Mhm.
not yet heard really of anybody in the skill position who has declared for the portal. Uh, we're kind of waiting to see a few names out there. I think there's one name in that wide receiver room that we're all expecting. Not going to say who. You can probably do the math on who that is. So Patterson could be a guy that could come in and plug in where someone who's departing might be, and we'll just have to see. He could be a guy that Kendal Briles will want to plug in early. You never know. Another in-state guy, Zion Giles, another interior offensive lineman, Hemingway, South Carolina. That is, again, huge because we've lost a couple of guys to the portal already on the offensive line. An offensive line that, as we have cited, was terrible last season. Uh, just couldn't block a brick wall. Uh, so you need more bodies up there. I think offensive line, you're glad to see these two right here that are very highly rated. Hopefully they will live up to that. But I think also you have to get more talent out of the portal up front. Uh,
Yeah.
again, we talked about this. No high school running backs. Marquell Blackwell, just it wasn't his thing. And so that's something that this group is going to have to do. They're going to have to go into the portal and get somebody who can fill in where they would have liked to have probably had Rasul Faison, who I'm not going to put all the blame on him. I think a lot of that is the offensive line. Certainly, Faison had his own hand in why he wasn't productive as they wanted him to be. I think also it was probably the scheme that Mike Shula was trying to run. I just don't know if, again, that offense was built for a running back like Faison. So we shall see. But now we will get into the two main ones. One that signed a little bit earlier in the day on Thursday, one that was probably the biggest surprise of the group, and that is uh, Dutch Fork's Julian Walker, an edge rusher that a lot of people have said, including himself, have said if Dylan Stewart comes back, those two could be a very lethal duo. I mean, Brian Thomas had a very strong season, I would say. I think he did admirably, but at the same time, he's not Kyle Kennard. And I don't know if Walker can be a Kyle Kennard type, but I think that he can certainly step in and kind of fill a gap there that was missing a year ago and take some pressure off of Stewart. So we shall see. And then finally, uh, the one that had everybody on edge, quarterback Landon Duckworth. Now, Duckworth is out of Alabama, so it's good that they were able to go out of state and get him. If Briles hangs around for a couple of years, this is the kind of guy you would like to plug into that offense.
Yeah, with Duckworth, I think he fits Briles' prototype to the T. Um, a dual threat, do it all guy, reads the field well. He moves around well in the pocket. Pretty good arm strength for a high schooler. Just a lot to like about the young man. And I'm not anointing him as Lamar Jackson yet, but just want to see what he can come in and do.
Yeah,
And I think he's the type of kid you gotta have in a Kendall Briles offense. You can't have a guy that's a statue back there. You got to have a guy that can move around and also push the pocket, like a guy that can stand in there and throw the football, read the defense well. But the good thing about the Kendall Briles offense, like you mentioned with Shula, Shula is going to give you those five step drops, those seven step drops, where you've got to read the field and the plays take so long. They're so slow developing.
yeah,
And if you don't have a Georgia or Alabama or Texas offensive line, you're screwed. And so having a guy back there like Duckworth in the brow system where it's a lot of quick releases, it's a lot of get the ball out fast, it's a lot of quick RPO going on
a lot of
in the
tempo.
run space, a lot of tempo. And the defense doesn't have a lot of time to think or react to really anything. They're more just like, holy crap, we better be in position.
Yeah,
We better be home.
yeah. That kind of is the overlay of kind of just the Spark Notes version of the recruiting class, if you will. Uh, did you watch the schedule show last night? The schedule release show last night?
No, I missed it.
Okay.
Give me the recap.
Well, I mean, it was just it's like any other, you know, schedule release show. It's just talking about the big games. Carolina wasn't really touched on too terribly much. What did you think of the schedule?
That, geez, that end of season schedule, like I told you on the phone earlier today. I mean, it was like an entity. It was like a an entity made that schedule, and that entity was not Jesus Christ. I'm gonna put it that way.
Yeah, kind of quite the opposite. Um, yeah, I don't even know. Let me ask you this. What do you define as the back end? Because it honestly feels like, and let me pull it up here real quick. Um,
I say the back end, meaning really the last. I mean, really, you could argue the last 6 games in a row, and
yeah,
I'll give you plus and minuses of that. I mean, Tennessee is what it is. They're to be very good. Oklahoma, obviously A&M. Arkansas is kind of a wild card
yeah.
because we don't know how Ryan Silverfield is going to do there. They could be firing on all cylinders, or by the time we play them, they could have fizzled out.
And it could
Uh,
be in a rebuild mode. I mean,
Me,
obviously,
I
first year head coach, even with the portal, sometimes it takes a while, especially in a place like Arkansas.
I feel much better about the first half of the schedule with Kent State and Towson and Mississippi State as the first 3 games. Feel really good about
Yeah.
chance to go 3-0. The Alabama game, one of those games that could go either way.
And the thing about that
Not sure.
game, by the way, you know, I'm not going to say it's overrated, but I've been impressed by more by other road environments than Alabama. But that being said, I don't know if that's where you want your first road game to be
No,
necessarily. I would feel a lot more comfortable if we were going to Mississippi State and then to Alabama. But you look at the first 3 games of that schedule, yeah, those are games that if you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, you should win them. Um,
Kentucky's going to be interesting with Will Stein, man. I
yeah,
mean, he's got a big talent gap to close. There's no doubt about
yeah.
that. South
Again,
Carolina was the better of the two teams by a lot last year.
really the last 3 years, or
And
really the
even,
last 4 years, if you think about
yeah,
it.
and even with Shula calling plays, we still dominated them.
Yes.
That's bad.
Uh, so, and then the game that is a wild card in that, I would say, is that game at Florida. So
Yeah,
that'll be interesting to see. Theoretically, you could come out of this, you could be looking at maybe 4-2, maybe 5-1. And if somehow you have your best game, you could be you. I mean, it just depends. I'm not gonna say it. I mean, everyone's probably saying, "Don't say it. No way it could happen." All right, I'll back off. I'm not gonna say
I,
it right now.
I,
Not
I feel
today,
really,
December 12th.
I feel really confident about October 17th.
Not gonna lose that day.
Not gonna lose that day unless we
But
lose recruit. But
but
even that back end, I mean, yeah, Tennessee's gonna lose their quarterback.
yeah,
Who does OU roll with? Does Mateer have another year, or is he gone? I don't
I
know the answer to
think
that.
he's gone. And even
Unfortunately,
still, I don't know if look, no matter who the offensive coordinator, whoever the quarterback is at Oklahoma, the thing I worry most about Oklahoma right now is how good that defense is. And that's
yeah.
why they are a team. People
And Brent
think,
Venables is still the head coach. Their defense
yes,
is gonna be good.
exactly. And people think I'm crazy, and I'm going to dip back into this year. You might think I'm crazy. That team could make a deep run into the playoff. They might not win the whole thing, but they can make a deep run.
I think they're gonna beat Alabama for sure.
I would not be surprised at all if they did. Alabama can't run the ball right now.
No, and that defensive front of Oklahoma, they are fast. It's like you
Yeah.
threw it's like you threw turpentine on the back of Wile E. Coyote. That's how fast
Right.
they are.
Um,
That
then
was
you
really
look
southern you got
again
to saying that, huh? But
versus Texas A&M. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, they're going to be better than us talent wise. There's no question.
Here's the
But
thing though, who do they hire at OC because they lost Colin Klein back to K-State as the head
they
coach.
did. But I mean, again, it's Texas A&M. They've got the pockets to do it.
I think they should make a splash hire and get Mike Shula his shot to redemption. I think that's what they need to do.
I know you would love that. Then the back end, as you
Marcus
said,
Satterfield is available too, guys. He's just a tight ends coach. You can have him.
we just touched on at Arkansas on November 14th. The last two, of course, Georgia, and we all know who we end with. Uh,
Yep, those
yep,
people.
that team, those people from the eternal hemorrhoid of the state of South Carolina. Anything can happen. You never know in that game. Who knows where
They
they'll
still
be?
suck. I'm not. They still suck. I'm not scared of them. We just sucked immensely worse somehow.
Yeah. Again, the biggest thing though, now that you've got the staff in place, get out into the portal, get where you have serious positions of need, offensive line, running back. You get
Hmm.
those. Yes, and Carolina does need to fill the gaps on the interior defensive line. I feel better about them than I do the interior offensive line.
Hmm.
Uh, but you've got to go out and utilize that into the portal. You have got to hit on that. You cannot miss this time.
Hey, if it made you feel better, we're playing them on the road next year, which means we're bound to win. It means we'll lose next year.
You know what? If we win
Can
next year against them, that's all I care about.
we just play them away every year at this point?
No, no, no. We'll get them eventually. But anyway, that'll wrap it up for this one. That I think will conclude season one, unless we have any major breaking updates that happen between now and the new year. We'll be back to recap the portal, and hopefully we'll have good news then. We'll recap player retention, we'll recap players who are coming in, and we'll just kind of go from there and see where season two takes us. Until
You
then,
heard
my
that
friend.
sound? You heard that sound? That was Ken. That wasn't an accident. That was Kendall's coming, baby. Kendall's coming. Hide your quarterbacks.
Oh, Lord. All right. Until then, my friend, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We'll see you sometime in the future.
Merry Christmas, guys. Love y'all.